Hey, I just got back from lunch. Did you finish that report yet?
Well, not exactly. Still working on it. I'm not finished just yet. I got a little sidetracked, but I will get them to you first thing this afternoon.
It is first thing this afternoon.
Well, yeah, I understand that, but I mean, I am working on it.
What do you mean that the report isn't finished yet?
I'm still in the process of working on it. I've just been a little distracted.
Distracted? Our meeting starts in an hour.
I can have it.
No. What were you doing? Were you listening to another hunting podcast again? I swear, I give the staff in this office the freedom to do whatever they want to do as long as they meet a deadline. That is the first bullet underneath your job description. Pays attention to detail and deadlines. Dude, are you even listening to me right now?
Welcome to episode 56 of the Whitetail Distraction Podcast. My name's Austin, and joining me in the rack shack is nobody. It's just me. We forgot to record an intro before we did this podcast. We forgot to record one after. So, yeah, it's just me. This is a really fun episode, though, guys. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. It's a repeat guest, Garrett Benner, the modern assassin. Make sure you guys go check him out. And his buddy, Captain Nick Mather, the Working Class Outdoorsmen. Those two have teamed up, and they put together an awesome thing. The bow fishing is absolutely incredible. The content that's coming through. They have a really big giveaway that they're doing right now. Make sure you guys listen to the episode. You'll get the details. It's all in there. Make sure you go and check out both of their pages, at the Modern Assassin and at the Working Class Outdoorsman. You can find out all the details there. Give them some love while you're over there. Hit them up. Tell them hi. Tell them you want to book a bow fishing trip. I mean, check it out. Check out Garrett's new podcast. Kills it. It's awesome. I mean, it's him being raw, real, no bullshit, just like he is. Now, this is an explicit episode. It always is with Garrett. It always is with a few of our guests. It's awesome. Just let it go. Just giving you a fair warning. Here we go. We're getting into it.
All right, guys. On the phone with us tonight, we have a special guest who went and did a little bit of a Forrest Gump and bought him a boat, Mr. Captain Nick Mathers. But just like Forrest Gump, everyone has to have a good first mate. We don't have Lieutenant Dan on the phone, but we do have returning guest, the modern assassin, Garrett Benner. Boys, I know you're not shrimping out there, but what's going on? Welcome to the show.
What's going on? What's cracking? Hey, if we find shrimp big enough, we'll stick an arrow in them, too.
Yeah. Could you imagine bow fishing for shrimp?
And if they got a wrecker, we'll break it.
I like it.
Gentlemen, we brought you on the show today because obviously we love you guys. We love what you do, and we've been following along for a little while. And I just felt like you boys had something to talk about over there from Maryland. So why don't we get into it? Garrett, you've been on the show before, but Nick, this is your time to shine, my man. Let's get into who you are and maybe a little background, if you don't mind, brother.
Well, my name's Nick, and big outdoorsman since I was a little kid. My dad started me in this, and he since doesn't do it anymore. Moved up here to Moncton. I don't know how long ago was that. Probably 11 years ago. 2011. So 10 years ago. 9 years ago. And always wanted to go bow fishing, and Garrett here has a boat, obviously, and I met him through another buddy, and he said, "You want to go out?" And I said, "Yeah, I want to go out." We went out, and that ruined the whole life. I warned him. Fair warning. I warned him. I told you, I said, this is going to fuck up everything else you do. You will be addicted. So just letting you know right now. And the worst part was, I was a badass fisherman. Like, if it swam, I caught it. Now, I suck at fishing.
Yeah.
I got to have a bow in my hand, you know?
Yeah, you just do your fishing a little different way. That's
exactly. All. Why wait for them to bite when you enforce feed them? But, I mean, to Nick's credit, that's one of the things people talk about. Because it really was only a few years back that
3 years ago is when
I
went out with you for the first time bow fishing.
Went out on my boat. He missed 90-some fish and then hit one little catfish right at the end of the night.
98 fish.
Gotta keep them percentages high.
Yeah, 1 out of 98. That ain't so bad.
And, and then I decided I was building a deck for my boat, redoing the deck. And the deck that came with my boat when I purchased it, it actually fit on Nick's boat better than it ever fit for mine that it was built for. It was kind of funny, actually.
Like Nick said, he had always been just a diehard fisherman. And, yeah, you may not have been bow fishing for a long time, but this motherfucker knows the water and pretty much anything that swims. And, that addiction and that level of attention that it takes to be, a top fisherman like that, it ain't no different what he brings aboard when it becomes bow fishing. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that relating a lot. I mean, knowing the water, knowing your fish, really all you did was just change the species. Start targeting different fish at different times in different places, but you're still figuring them out. You're still figuring the water out.
Absolutely. There's aspects of hunting to it. We got to look at the wind. We got to look at the tides. We got to look at the weather. You got to know what the previous weather was like, what the weather was like upstream. Because, it may not rain here, but if it rained upstream of where we are, water quality could be shit. So there's plenty of factors that play into being successful every night.
Yeah, so like 2 years ago, my first year I went out with Garrett, I guess a couple times, 3 or 4 times we probably went out. And the next year we put that deck on and I just went out and did it. Garrett came out a few times with me, but for the most part I was doing it by myself. I'd call him and be like, dude, I can't find any fish. What do I do? Like, I can't find them anywhere. And we talked through it. And as we started doing that, we really started paying attention to the tides, the weather, the moon, everything. And, that's why we kill piles, because we really pay attention to that stuff and it makes a big difference. Like, we know where the fish are going to be any given night, depending on the tide, the wind, anything. So
That's
2 in the
awesome.
morning, we got to go because them fish are on that flat now.
Yeah, man.
I
When
think.
what kind of fish are you targeting in general? Like, what's your top fish that you're shooting every night?
Well, we like to kill snakeheads.
Yeah,
Ooh, I like
snakehead's the target for most trips.
That's what we're known for, pretty much.
Yeah.
We kill a lot of snakes.
They're super cool fish, too. I mean, the pattern on them is just unreal. It's unlike anything else.
It's almost like a deer, though. You can pattern these things and figure them out, and then the next night you go out and they're gone. It's like,
Really?
what?
That's crazy.
Yeah, you
man.
think you got them pegged down, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, shit, that went out the window.
Yeah.
So is that just they're
you could
moving
shoot
a
the
lot,
same-
or do they actually
could
get
shoot
like
this-
pressured?
You could shoot the same flat 3 nights in a row and see a couple hundred snakeheads, and then go back the next night and not see one. And with better conditions, it's crazy.
That is wild. When's a snakehead rut?
Dude, that's what's crazy about it is we've determined that it's pretty much anytime the water's above like 50 degrees.
No shit. I was just joking. That's funny.
They
Yeah,
spawn every 50 days.
yeah,
That's
as Nick
what's
said, they can spawn almost 3 times a summer, some of them, or 3 times a year, but we really think that it's not like a rut or a normal fish spawn where it is at that time or that temperature. It's more so, I think, the fish maturity.
Yep.
And because they're constantly spawning, it's almost like there's constantly some breeding. You do have bursts where all of a sudden you do notice a lot of them pairing up, and you notice a lot of fry balls, and you notice the different behaviors that you know that they're spawning. But it's like there's some doing that at all times. It's not just, a specific time. That's why
Right.
they're just so prolific.
And, they can have up to 300,000 babies a year. So one
Holy
female,
shit.
she matures at a year and a half to 2 years, and she can have up to 300,000 babies.
So I
Just
can
think about it. If 10% of them live, think about how many fish are still out there.
I was just gonna say I can see the need for killing them and doing it in large numbers, because otherwise, I mean, there'd be nothing out there but snakeheads.
I hope that's what happens.
If we have anything to say about it, we're going to keep killing them large numbers. And we don't know what's going to happen here. This is where we are. The snakeheads are fairly new. Summer that Nick started with me and went out 3 or 4 times, we saw a snakehead one night and knew what it was. It was very clear what it was. That was the only one I had seen that summer out of hundreds of hours out there.
And all
That
we
is
did was
summer.
stare at it. didn't
Yeah, we're
look
like,
at it.
is that, and then they just dropped down. We're like, son of a bitch.
Damn it!
But So we went from snakeheads being a rumor to seeing one throughout an entire summer to Nick and I killing 4 the very first night we went out the next year.
And that was probably one of the first times everybody knew killed one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
It was unheard of. You never heard of anybody killing one or catching one.
Nobody realized when we first started killing them, no one thought we were killing them where we were. Everyone thought we were further south in different rivers and everything else.
Yeah.
We were really the first ones. We were the first ones to get our hair up our ass and go out and start shooting shit that early when conditions weren't great and it was still cold. So therefore, we were the first to stumble across them too, if that makes sense. But it's funny, you know, we went in and I was skipping a couple spots that we would normally fish. And I just kept going back. I said, dude, if there's snakeheads here, I know where they're going to be. And we rolled right up into a pod of them and we were almost dumbfounded. We killed 2 out of it and we just looked at each other like, holy shit, they're here.
So I know nothing about snakehead fish, let's be honest. Are they freshwater or saltwater? They're freshwater?
They're
Freshwater.
everything.
They're
They
everything.
prefer freshwater.
Okay.
Oh, really?
So you're up
They
in
say when they
rivers.
spawn, the water needs to be fresh. They won't spawn if the water's brackish, real brackish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, do you guys have bowfin over there? Because they kind of look like a snakehead.
We do.
Do you have
Not
a
many,
mix
but
of
we
them,
do.
or?
They are very, in the water and all even, yeah, they look very close. If you took a bowfin and mixed it with a creature from a movie, that's a snakehead. You
Okay.
can make it live on land, fucking eat birds and all kinds of crazy shit. They got 6 rows of teeth that go down their throat. You can't put your finger in their gills to hold them. If you put your finger all the way in the gill, they'll slice you.
Oh,
Yeah, they're just voracious predators. Anything that they get in their mouth, it ain't getting out.
So is there something out there? Is there a species, since they moved in numbers have gotten huge, is there something that they're eating a lot of that is concerning?
Oh,
The snakeheads?
yeah, it's a problem that is beyond control, if
Right.
we would put it. There's no turning back at this point. Thankfully, as I was kind of getting to, and then I got off track as I do quite a lot. I was saying the Susquehanna area where we are, they're new, so we're not exactly sure where we are. It's a very unique environment. The Susquehanna Flats, you guys have probably even heard of it.
oh yeah.
Yeah, everybody about has, and it's a very unique environment and situation, the way the rivers meet the upper bay and everything. There are other places in Maryland, especially where they were first introduced near the Potomac River, where they've been in there for 15 to 20 years now. So we've been able to see, how the bass populations and perch and everything else, how everything eventually balanced back out. So we can kind of look at that as a model of what may become here. But again, it's similar. And just because it's in the same state and, close enough distance for the fish to travel doesn't mean it's the same environment and they're going to have kind of the same impact or non-impact. So we're not really sure what's going to happen, but it's absolutely something that to be in concern with, for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
We have the most grass of anywhere in Maryland, the upper bay, and it's totally different from the Potomac. Potomac has a lot of lily pads and it has a few grass flats, but nothing like what we have. I mean, think about it. How many fish you drive over here and you don't see? It's crazy.
Right.
They can hide so well. You might never see them.
That is pretty wild.
You have 2 seconds to shoot him, and if he gets in that grass, he's gone.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, they look like camouflage too, so they got to be
Yeah.
hard to see anyway.
Funny part is they stick out.
Yes, it's
Really?
weird. Some of them, the pattern is so defined and so colorful. They're like a beacon. Like it's just like, bam, in your face.
Wow.
Other ones are one of the best spots actually to kill snakeheads is toward the back of the boat because, everybody wants to be up front, obviously, but toward the back is the best place to kill snakeheads because you get to see them at that side angle instead of just the top view,
Yeah.
and you get to see sections of the water longer. So some of them, yeah, they'll stick out. I mean, it's no question what it is. And some of them, I mean, it's not until you pass them or maybe that they move. And it's like, you may be looking at that exact spot and you don't see it until one moves.
You're just staring at his head while his head's poking out of his eyes, and you're like, is that an eyeball?
Now, do they have any predators?
Nothing.
Each other.
Nothing's
when
really eating
they're
them?
small, they eat each other, and that's about it.
Oh, come on. So you guys are the
Bald
predators.
eagles and shit, too.
Yeah, the
but,
birds
you know.
are probably their biggest predator because they're surface fish. At night, they sleep towards the top because they got to breathe air. And
since they come up to breathe air during the day, and they feed on a ton of top water, you know, they're constantly giving away their location to birds.
Okay.
No, that makes
And,
sense.
I mean, them fish will be in 2 inches of water during the day. They'll sit right up on the bank, fins out of the water and everything.
We've literally seen some where the tide has gone out, and they are laying on wet weeds with wet weeds kind of draped down over top of them, and they're just laying on the ground in wet weeds, just
Completely
waiting for the tide
exposed.
to come back to them.
Wow.
I've seen them sit on top of lily pads out of the water completely, and they'll do a little hop right off the lily pad back down into the water. It's funny.
And they're
Especially
just
the little
fine
ones, like
doing
the 8
that.
inches.
This seems like a Dr. Seuss fish. Like, shit doesn't
Dude,
make any
they're
They're
sense.
crazy.
They are kind of unreal. I mean, they really, and then to top it all off, they are the best eating fish that you will get out of freshwater.
No shit.
Wow.
Absolutely,
That's
no
a
doubt,
statement.
dude.
So what are you
You
comparing
know-
them to?
Yeah, what do they taste like? What's the texture?
And you're the fish, man. Yeah, what do you
ever
it's
had-
hard.
You ever had a cobia?
No.
I haven't had a cobia, no.
What's your favorite fish to eat?
Probably walleye.
It's way better than walleye. And
It's
walleye's
way
good,
better
but
than
it's
walleye.
way better than walleye.
I don't know. I mean, I'm a
It's a
panfish
very,
guy,
it's
like
a very
perch.
firm white meat. I mean, it doesn't get any firmer for a freshwater fish.
Okay.
Okay.
No bloodline. They're very, very clean white. They have like a short line of bones right at the front. You just cut them right out, and they're phenomenal.
That's
We get a lot of
awesome.
money for them, man. We get up to $12 a pound through the local restaurants here.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because we can provide good fish, completely fresh. I mean, and when I say completely fresh, you know, one of the things about the snakeheads is if you possess them, they have to be dead.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be if you caught one at all, you couldn't even release it. You had to kill it on the spot.
Oh.
But now they've become kind of so prolific that it's like, yeah, we're not getting rid of them. You're allowed to catch and release, or if you possess it, you have to kill it on the spot. But we can bring them, we get them to the market, you know, before the sun even comes up.
Damn, man. That's awesome.
legit.
You fuckers are just going to have to come down and shoot some and find out what they taste like.
Well, I'm glad you said it first because I was going to wait a whole podcast and then suggest it at the end.
Well, when this thing's over, we'll get you in the book.
I may know a guy.
I know a guy.
It's good to know people. It helps.
Oh, man. That'd be
But
awesome.
that's awesome, man. I'm a big fan of fish. We eat a lot of fish around here. A lot of walleye, a lot of bass, perch, bluegill. You know, that's what we do.
You want to know a fun Nick fact? Nick doesn't eat fish.
Nick doesn't
Really?
eat fish. Come on, man. What's
I do
going
not.
on?
I was a commercial waterman pretty much my whole life. So I guess 2 years before I got out of high school, I got my own commercial license. My grandfather passed away, and he left me a little bit of money. It's not a lot of money, but it was enough money to get. I bought a 42-foot work boat and commercial crabbing license, and that's what I did for 5 years. And that's how I learned the water, really. I mean, I learned a lot in them 5 years of just being on the water.
Yeah. Did you invest in an
And,
apple company, a fruit company, too? Just like Forrest Gump?
What was that?
Come on, guys. Forrest Gump reference. I said, did you invest in a fruit company? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I sold the workboat in I think 2012. I sold the workboat and my commercial license. Probably the dumbest thing I ever did. I should have kept it.
Yeah.
And I got out of crabbing. I just didn't like doing it anymore. It was a lot of work, no money, and started fishing more and more and more. And then I met this fucker over here sitting next to me, and he cost me $110,000 in a matter of 6 months.
I warned you, bro. I warned you.
You know.
Well,
And
it
then we
seems
built
like
and we built the power plant.
I was gonna say, it seems like with this new venture you guys got going on, I don't even know if we threw the name out there yet, the Working Class Outdoorsmen, that you may be able to recapture a little bit of what Garrett owes you.
Maybe one day. He helps me out a lot. I
That's
give him a lot
awesome.
of credit. I don't take any of his credit from him. You know, he showed me the rope. And I still call him almost every time I'm out on the water. What do you think about this idea? Look, pull up your map and look at this. What do you think? You think I'm thinking right? He'd be like, yeah, it looks sweet. And we'll go over there and try it, and then I'll give him a call.
Sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong.
I mean, there's a lot of nights too, and that's one thing about me is I know where the fish are, but every night I go somewhere where I don't know where any fish are, and we try something new every night. Every night.
You know what? That's how you learn the water, man. That's how you find new spots.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's usually how we start our night. We know where we can go kill fish. Let's go find out. Maybe we can go kill fish in a different spot. Maybe we get there and find out, dude, this spot would be dope a month earlier before the grasses pop or before this, or, oh, dude, we got to come back here on a high tide.
Right. Yeah, a lot of it's
be dynamite, you know, and you just never know until you get out and do it, especially, you know, Nick ain't afraid to burn fuel. Let me tell you. I mean, some nights we get on the boat and we don't even fire up the motor where we'll drop the boat in, you know, we just drop the troll motor in a few minutes we're fishing. And other times, you know, people think we just hang around in the same spots, but we may burn 30 miles to go check something new if we want, you know.
The boat's big enough to do it, and we utilize it. So where we're at, the boat ramps are so far apart, and you got to pay so many tolls. They kill your own toll. So we just drop the boat in Haverty Grace, and we might go 35 miles. Everybody's like, oh, we know where you're fishing. Fine. Think it.
Yeah, just
the hell you do.
And, it's cost us a few props, but you know,
more than a few props. We went through some props.
Put it this way: I am an expert at hanging off the back of that boat, changing the prop in the middle of the night.
Nick doesn't get in the water unless he falls in. That only happened once. Garrett, that's where I get Garrett back.
Yeah. So, I mean, that sounds a lot. You could compare that a lot back to hunting. Like you said, it's almost like mobile hunting on public land. You know, you guys are jumping around a lot. You're looking at new spots. You're keeping it fresh and, you know, and it's obviously working for you.
And the crazy part is, like, me and Garrett will see a fish and it'll be a good fish. And we're like, oh, we're coming back to kill this fish. And we might not kill that fish for another week or two. But guess what? We're coming back to kill it. And we do. I chased that damn grassy for fucking 2 weeks, and I lost countless hours of sleep and just waking up and going to work for that fish. And I finally killed that son of a bitch.
Yeah,
Garrett should have killed it, but he fucked up.
We rolled right up in that thing head first, and no one was just kind of prepared. He was in a different spot, but it was a fish that no one said existed, or at least in that area. They're like, oh, they ain't around here. And we saw one. We're like, not only is there one here, but the motherfucker's a state record.
Yeah, and we got to kill it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just one. We found a bunch, which is pretty cool. Nobody knows.
Yeah, and Nick was. I mean, it was every night. I'm going to kill this grassy. I'm going to kill this grassy. I'm going to kill it. And, you know, he spent, it was, 10 days or 12 days?
12 days.
12 days straight. I got the picture of that big sumbitch laid across the deck of the boat. And it lost weight before they even got it to the scales, actually, and got things, you know. But, yeah, it's still the state record.
That's crazy, man.
That's super awesome.
Yeah, it was a badass fish, that's for sure.
Whatever. I'm confident in saying this because I don't give a fuck. We killed several state records throughout the summer, and we just didn't have the proper scale. You have to have a specific scale with a specific weight and follow specific instructions, which I 100% agree with. I'm not complaining about this method or the requirements. Let me say that. We're like, fuck it, throw it in the barrel. Let's get back to shit, you know? Right. And then we'd be like, dude, that one's a fucking hoss. Like, we should weigh it. But we didn't have the proper scale and proper weights and follow proper procedure. And I don't even know how many state records we shot. And it was literally like the last
30 days.
5 weeks. Yeah. 4 or 5 weeks. We're like, all right, let's get the scale and let's go out and use what we know in just this last couple weeks. And how many records does the power plant have now?
6 now.
6 records.
Damn,
kidding.
dude.
Holy
from
crap.
the last 5 to 6 weeks. You have 5 weeks of the season. Yeah.
We shot the state record Goldie 4 times in one night on the last night.
And I actually shot the state record Goldie in a tournament we were in, and it was a total weight tournament. We just didn't fucking pay attention. But so, like I said, we killed plenty of state records throughout, and we're gonna break
them
pretty
all
much
this year.
whatever's left in all of our own too.
Wow.
Dude, good for you, man. Keep going. Keep killing them, man.
That's awesome.
No
It's
doubt.
the fun part of doing it.
Yeah. Now, is that
and then you
just...
have all your haters to just look back at and just sit there and laugh.
Yeah. Is that just like bow fishing state records? Is that what they
it's
categorize it as?
BAA records, yeah. It's just for bow fishing.
Sweet. That's...
So Maryland doesn't take a bow fishing kill for a fish record.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of figured that much. But still, I mean, you're
states
the best
will.
in the class.
And, some of them are held by juniors, because, one of the things that putting together what, now that Nick had his captain's license last year and everything, but now that Nick is a captain and he has all the proper licensing and everything to where we can open up to the working class to take out these people to experience this. One of the things we knew, hey, we're going to have to take people of all different skill levels. We're going to have to take people that know how to shoot a bow. We're going to have to take people that don't know how to shoot a bow. We're going to have to take females. We're going to have to take short draw, long draw. We're going to have to take kids, and just kind of figure out what works, how to keep it safe, especially how to teach people. So we brought just kind of a bunch of different demographics out to enjoy, help us break shit and figure shit out, so
learn the boat.
Yeah. So this way it's a world-class operation when we open it up to clientele.
Dude, that's awesome. You know what? You did your homework. I'm rooting for you, man. It's going to be good.
Yeah, we did a lot, man. We brought all kinds of people on board. People that didn't have a clue, people that were great, people in the middle. We took a lot of kids. We took Garrett's nephews out.
Yeah.
My buddy at work, because I work full time for the railroad too, and do this every night.
Damn near.
That's
near
tough,
every night.
man.
Damn near.
But we took my best friend that I hired in on the railroad. It's his little girl that shot the mirror carp. That's the youth record.
No, I saw that one.
And,
That was badass.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, we just took so many people out and just wanted to learn it. We wanted to break the boat. We wanted to break shit so we could figure out what was going to break or what we could make better. The boat's actually at Matt Judge's house now and getting a bunch of upgrades and getting it ready for the season.
Shout out to Matt Judge, Problem Child Outdoors. He is
the man.
He is a badass dude. He is a PA boy.
Hey.
Let's go.
Dude, he is a fucking savage. He is an awesome deer hunter. He is an awesome bow fisherman. He is a bow fishing bow tech master and
The world's greatest electrician.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I had not even met the dude, and Nick sent me a picture of the wiring that was going on the boat. I was like, I don't know who's doing that. I don't know what they're charging, but they're worth every fucking penny, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt's a really good dude. So when we built the boat, we kind of went over budget a little bit, and everybody knows how much wiring costs. So Matt spent his own money and wired that boat because I didn't have enough money to pay for everything at the time, and he took it out of his own paycheck and wired that boat up.
That's a hell of a
That's pretty
dude
cool.
there,
That's
man.
a good dude right there.
I mean,
Yeah,
if Matt works on something for me, and I don't take him for granted one bit, but he just buys the shit and he'll be like, this is what you owe me. Whenever you got it, give it to me.
Yeah.
He's got a great wife, 2 kids. They're awesome people.
That's
That's
awesome.
cool.
What a good dude.
PA Savage, that's the type we like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
How'd you get all the equipment? You guys stockpile on bows and stuff, so when you bring people on, you can go ahead and hand them a bow and get them all set up, or how's that work?
It's not that bad, really. I mean, you don't have to do a whole lot.
Yeah, most of the bow fishing bows are pretty well adjustable as far as draw weight. A lot of them don't have a draw length,
Right.
if that makes sense. It's a continuous cam to where you can fire it just about anywhere in between. It doesn't really have a draw length back wall. And a lot of them, therefore, don't have a let off or a rollover at any point either. Some of them do. You know, for the most part, we shoot lever bows, and we shoot completely different. I shoot mine pretty much maxed the fuck out, and I let go of it right before any let off starts to cam over. Nick likes to have his lighter draw, but he makes sure he full draws through the cycle, where I have this habit of shooting so damn fast when I'm instinctive shooting.
The most sexiest form you've ever seen in your life.
Dude, it's so funny. We were actually watching video earlier, and I do go into this fucking weird ass pose standing on that rail before I let an arrow rip.
It's hilarious.
Oh, it is pretty funny. It is pretty funny, let me say. But, you know, I have this way that I shoot. Like, I don't aim. I draw back, and before I'm all the way back, I just draw right through, and that arrow's ripping. It's just how I do it. So I have my bow set to me accordingly, and Nick has his bow set accordingly to him, you know. And
you can switch, and you're just horrible. You're just so used to it. I only shoot 25 pounds.
Okay.
And I shoot 55.
I only shoot 25, maybe not even 25.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's real light draw.
Yeah,
I know
super
that.
light.
Hey, when you're as good as us and you shoot 500 times
That's
a night,
what I was saying.
Towards the end of the night.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I'm
you
still
can torch.
just hard-headed, and I got to crank that bitch
Yeah.
up. I can't help it.
And it's funny how you start out, too, because either Garrett will be on fire or I'll be on fire or vice versa. And it's just crazy. You'll go and hit 20 fish in a row, and then you suck the rest of the night. You're just like, what in the hell am I doing wrong? And then Garrett will get on fire, and then you'll go through a slow spot where you're not seeing many fish, and then everything just goes to shit. You find a pot of fish, and you get all excited, and everybody's missing. It's crazy how it works out.
That's
That's
awesome.
what makes it fun.
And sleep deprivation and
Yeah.
everything else, but
It makes it fun. It's a challenge. We have a challenge on the boat. Who kills the biggest fish or the most fish, or, you know.
you know, you were talking about the different bows. We've tried just about everything out there, and we have broke pretty much everything out there. The only bow really that I can think of that I haven't broke is the fin finder.
Yeah, the Poseidon.
Yeah, the Poseidon. That's a badass bow, and it's a cheap package if anyone wants to get one. But, you know, we just go through everything. So we got it, you know, we got it dialed into what's going to work for which different people. And, you know, there are certain people that have certain shooting styles to where we will make sure they have a certain type of reel or a certain type of bow. You know, again, it's just, we've been through the ringer trying with enough people to kind of get shit dialed in.
And we're well equipped. We have a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Lever bow. I mean, there's
even got a
19
couple
bows on board.
lefties, you know, for the left-handed shooters that show up, you know.
We got 19 bows on board. 12 of them are lever bows, and then we got Cajuns.
I mean,
But I
lefties
can
don't
tell
really
you,
count.
The best product that's on that boat right now is the Mega Mouth reel. That made the year so just enjoyable, because you didn't have to go out there worrying about breaking anything. I would break a reel at night. Ask Garrett. I'd throw my damn bow in the water. I was getting pissed. Every reel I bought would break the first damn night.
That's
and
intense.
that's after I got good and started hitting stuff. You know what I mean? But yeah, the Mega Mouth, dude. Them guys built a badass product.
Honestly, that's a
Hold
killer
up.
plug too. Honestly,
Yeah, I was gonna say, while we're talking products and whatnot, I mean, I noticed a few of yours, Gator Grip as well. You know,
Gator Grip, they're badass, dude.
Yeah, I was just at ATA, first time at ATA, and I tell you what, Dave Ramsey from Gator Grip, he is one of the cooler people I've ever met, period. Not just within the industry or, you know, a guy that has a product. Just straight up, he's one of the coolest dudes I think I've ever met. And he's a veteran, so, you know, thankful for his service and everything. He's just straight up a bad motherfucker.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You know, he's got an awesome product. Yeah, as Nick was saying, the Mega Mouth. We spent, I can't even tell you how much money and how much time rebuilding reels and everything. And the Mega Mouth ain't cheap.
Garrett didn't want to do it. He was like, I'm not spending that kind of money. And I'm
Because
like,
we break everything.
I'm
Right.
going to do it. And I got one. Garrett shot it. He's like, I want one. So I got another one for Garrett. I bought Matt one too.
We were actually having a race to see who could break it first.
And none of us broke them.
Yeah,
Wow.
we were intentionally trying to break them through normal use, obviously, not
Right.
trying to, you know, we ran it over with the truck, it broke, fuck this piece of shit. No, we're using it straight up, just like the normal stuff that broke and destroyed everything else we tried. And Nick finally broke one. He was the first one. He finally broke them. We're like, damn, all right, maybe they can't handle our shit, you know? We broke a $5 replacement part
$3
that is made to break so you don't ruin the rest of the reel.
That's what's up.
That's awesome.
And it's like a $5 part after shipping or some shit.
All it is
Like,
a
it's
friction
beautiful,
plate.
dude.
Yeah. It's just a friction plate, and the reel doesn't even break. You can still use the reel's not going to let you down. You just don't have that full drag. Like, we lock our drags all the way down. Like, when I click that button, that fish is damn near going to flop back in the boat. You know, that's how I like my drag. He ain't going nowhere. And we shot rays, and that's when that friction plate finally, it gave in. The next night we went to shoot fish, but Garrett put a hurting on some rays with it that day, and he was just manhandling them in.
I was trying to break it.
He was trying to break it, and it didn't break while we were out there.
Put it this way, I shot a big ray. That was probably a record ray, actually.
It probably was
I bet you that was probably a state record ray. And I set the drag down low and let that thing start take off running, and I anchored myself down, and I just looked at Nick. I was like, ready?
Cowabunga.
And I just spun that drag all the way down to tight, and I was like, something's gonna break. And it just stopped that motherfucker dead in his track. Luckily, it didn't rip me off the boat.
It almost did.
It almost took me off the boat. Yeah, it was damn close to take me off the boat. But it stopped that motherfucker in his tracks, and like I said, I just was pulling as hard as I could, just trying to break something. Eventually, through continued use, a $5 replacement part. I mean, they had already thought, if something's going to break, this is where it's going to be, this contact, so they made it a replacement part.
That's killer.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And I met Derek at ATA from Megamouth, and he was a badass dude, too, you know. That's one of the coolest things. Anyone that Nick and I work with,
Personal.
yes, it's personal. We can, even if it's guys, you know, at ATA is the first time I got to meet these guys and actually shake their hands. We have a personal relationship with. We can get on the phone and call them. You know, when we post something, they contact us, they value us. And, you know, these aren't paid sponsorships. What these were is we found the most badass products that work. And therefore, we promote it. You know, it's the same shit I've kind of always done.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nick and I have just kind of partnered into doing this. And, you know, I've just kind of always done me, and Nick just got so obsessed with it, he decided to take it to the next level of having the most badass boat on the East Coast.
A lot of sleepless nights designing that, too.
Yeah, that's for sure.
6 months of calling Garrett 15 times a day. What do you think of this idea? I don't like it. I'll call you back in an hour. I'm at work, and I got a better idea already in my head. Like this, I don't think the fucker sleeps. Like, I wake up in the morning, and I got text messages from 3:30 in the morning. Dude, I just figured out the best thing ever. And he's like, call me when you get up.
Well, these guys know. They get sneak peeks of the camo. They got a sneak peek of the camera arm.
Oh, yeah.
They know all the kind of different crazy shit that I'm wrapped up and involved in, and I just can't stop creating, you know.
He'll create one thing, and the next day he's already got something else he's thinking about. He ain't finished the thing before that.
Oh, man.
He's funny. Never on time either. Yeah. Never fucking on time.
That's like
Garrett, be at the boat ramp at 7:30. 8:10 rolls around. Where you at? Oh, I'm at Royal Farms. I'll be there in a minute. Yep. Always waiting on Garrett.
When I find out I have to tow the boat.
That sounds like
not
me
anymore
a lot.
though. That was my big struggle for the year was not having a truck. So I have a truck, but piece of shit.
Yeah, the
old 7.3 didn't want to do it.
No,
the heavy boat.
Of course, you needed the Cummins to take care of that bitch.
Yeah. No, I finally got a good deal on a truck at the end of the year and picked that up. So
there you go.
A blessing.
So here's what I'm curious about. You have a $110,000 boat, but you got a piece of shit truck. What's going on there, man?
Dude, you were lying. If you could have seen that fucking truck.
Yeah, it was pretty bad, man. Like, you couldn't even open the door without it almost falling off. You didn't even have a tailgate.
Oh, man.
Like, it's funny because I've had that truck for a long time, and we would go duck hunting down at Sandy Point, Maryland, and it would be cold. We were sea duck hunting. We'd come back, and we couldn't get the bitch started. Like, I don't know how many times. It would take like 3 hours. We'd have to light a fire under the fucking thing to get it to start.
Oh, man.
Yeah. They were good times.
Working class redneck shit.
Yeah.
That's how it started.
Expensive toys, and then, you know, fucking cheap shit. You gotta to figure out some redneck shit to get her fired up and started.
Dude, my first boat came out of a fucking farmer's field that was all grown over called the Lady Rebel. It had a little Rebel stripper on the back of it painted on it. And it was an old Starcraft, a 1972 Starcraft. I think it was 17 feet. And I crabbed off that for a long time with my license. My dad bought me my first motor. I got the boat when I was 14. My dad bought me a 30 horsepower Mercury motor from my buddy Ricky, and we put that thing on. I had that boat for like 5 years, and it finally just started leaking so bad. And I lost the trailer one day, and that was the end of the boat. It sat in the yard and never saw water again. And then
Wait. I want to stop you. How did you lose the trailer?
I was wondering the same thing. Thank you. I don't know this story, so please continue.
There's this place called Fort Armstead in Baltimore, and it was a really, really low tide, and I backed the trailer in and hopped out and got in the boat like I always do. I'm telling my buddy, and we're running a little bit late, and we were slamming crabs. Like, I'm talking 16, 17 bushels a day, trout lining by 9 o'clock. It was amazing. I back it in, and I guess I went too far. And my buddy goes to pull it out, and it just stops the truck and everything. And I'm getting mad. Like, I get pretty hot pretty quick when shit doesn't go right, you know? So I'm like, pull the fucking truck out. Come on, we gotta go. And he put that bitch in 4-wheel drive and pulled it out all right. He ripped the trailer right off the fucking truck. So I called my buddy Mike Henson, who he's a commercial crabber up here in Havre de Grace. And I was like, Mike, you got a trailer? No, why? I was like, I don't have one anymore. He's like, well, what happened to it? I was like, it's at the bottom of Fort Armstead. And he's like, did you get the tag? I was like, hell no. I'm not getting in that water. He's like, let me make a phone call. So a guy back in Bear Creek owned a little marina, and he had a trailer. So I went crabbing. I said, fuck it, went crabbing. Didn't even worry about how I'm going to get home yet.
Well, you got a trailer to pay for. You better catch some fucking crabs.
Yeah.
So we went and got this trailer. I had my dad come down and pick the trailer up and tow it back over to the boat ramp, load it up. On the way home, the fucking tire falls off the trailer going down 152. At the end of the day, my boat got towed back to the house on a rollback, and it never saw water again after that.
Oh, man.
I was just so mad.
See, that's probably from all that sleep deprivation. You got to get some more sleep, dude. It won't get so upset.
So it was just, when shit goes wrong, it goes wrong.
You guys are from PA. I'm sure you've seen plenty of boats not in water with no trailer, just sitting somewhere.
Oh, just chilling in someone's yard, literally.
The spot where
Actually,
Austin killed his buck this year.
Coming back from ATA with the East Coast boys, we were driving through part of Pennsylvania, and I was like, well, I've seen it fucking all now. It was a duck boat with just a shitty John boat with a makeshift duck blind, right? No trailer dropped off in the woods with as a deer blind. So they turned their John boat that had a duck blind. Probably started leaking and said, fuck it, that make a good deer blind right there, I tell you what.
They probably killed more deer than you did.
Probably.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you see some crazy shit in the woods, man. I don't spend a lot of time on the water, but you see some crazy shit out in the woods. I mean, I've seen blinds.
We see crazy shit out in the water, too.
I bet.
Nick calls me one night. He calls me, and it's late. It's like 3:30 in the morning. And whenever he's out and I'm not there, I try to keep my phone on because,
I do dumb shit.
Where we are, I mean, the Susquehanna don't fuck around. Like, people die out there every year.
Oh, yeah.
So we always, even when we part ways at the end of the night, let me know when you get home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're always just trying to make sure that if anything goes wrong, one of us is there to help, or at least someone else. But he calls me one night, and first thing I'm like, oh shit, this isn't good. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 in the morning. He's like, dude, just stay on the phone with me a minute. I'm like, all right, what the fuck's going on? He's like, bro, I don't know. He's like, I'm way back in that skinny ass fucking creek we looked at on the map. He's like, I'm about out of water, about to get stuck, and I got to turn around. I'm like, all right, sounds like you can handle it. Like, what's going on? He's like, dude, I passed these 5 fucking people dressed in all black wearing white masks. just lined up on the side of the creek.
What the fuck?
It was fucking sketchy.
And I was like, doing
Dude, I ain't
what?
coming with
He's
you
like,
guys anymore.
Nothing. He's like, all of a sudden, we just noticed these 5 white faces, white masks, people wearing all black, just lined up 10 feet away from the boat on the creek.
Yeah, it was interesting for sure. But we got out of there.
I said, you got arrows. I mean, worst come to worst. Let the bow rip.
Yeah, I was going to say, you guys, I wonder if Maryland's a reciprocal state I can carry over there or not. I'm going to have to look into that before I book any
we've
trips.
been shot at with fireworks. I was shooting this was one of your Pennsylvania boys, I'm sure. This was in Pennsylvania in Muddy Creek, and
Oh, we don't claim them.
yeah, well, them boys got me good that night. They scared the living shit out of me. I might have shipped myself. They got me good.
Well, them fucking assholes. There was a kid on board, and they're firing fireworks over there.
They were pissed off about, and you know what?
Kind of lucky I wasn't there that night. It's a good thing I wasn't.
I'm very respectful in the water, which not a lot of people are, dude, but we follow 99.9% of the rules all the time. I don't go blaring past people, making big wakes. If they're in a small boat, I'll slow down or go way wide of them. This guy, dude, I turned my lights off on the left side of the boat when we went into the creek because they were having a little party, and we went back in the creek and fished for an hour. It took us an hour to fish at Muddy Run Creek. We went back as far as we could, and turned around and came back out. So I turned the right side off. Well, they weren't really lit up, and he lit that firework, and it blew up like 3 feet from the boat in the air.
Yeah, we would have had
It
problems.
was like a quarter stick of dynamite. It was louder than a gun going off.
Yeah, we would have
That
problems.
scared me. Never even saw it coming too.
That's intense, man.
That's just not something you fuck around with, man.
Kill somebody.
Yeah,
That was an instant fireball. Too. Some crazy
Just
stuff.
hit that. Yeah, just turn that off. I'm
crank that heat down. It's
freaking
hot.
sweating my ass off in here. Holy hell.
We're losing layers. Pretty soon we're gonna be naked in here.
Yeah. Well, we also did run up on a sea monster one night.
Yeah, we don't even know what it
On a
was.
sea monster, old Nessie.
Yeah,
I thought it was a mermaid.
If mermaids
We
existed,
still
I'm
don't-
sure
we-
you
we
guys.
we honestly have no idea what the fuck we rolled up on.
It was big.
We were in my boat. Your boat must have been getting worked on. We were in my boat.
In your boat.
Again, checking out a spot we hadn't been to before.
April.
And we were heading into this little creek that we were in a mud flat, but you could tell probably a mud boat had been running up and down, up and into this creek. And we figured, there's probably duck blind back there or something. We're like, well, if he's got a deep line where he's running his motor in and out, we can run the troll motor back, And, so we're on this giant flat heading into this little tiny creek head. And literally the second that I pulled the generator cord, the noise of the generator and then the lights kind of click on, we were in about 2 foot of water, 2.5 foot of water, and something blasted across this flat that it literally looked like a 50-gallon drum under the water, the way the wake was rolling over the top of it, and it went across this flat. And there's been reports of bull sharks and shit up there.
Oh, yeah, they
But
can go
the
freshwater and
the
bracket.
water was so shallow, that's what everybody's like, it had to be a bull shark we pushed up. Nah, there was no dorsal fin sticking up, and there was no side-to-side thrashing of the tail.
Mermaid.
I honestly think it was probably a fucking manatee, and it's the only thing that I know can go in explosive bursts like that.
They're pretty damn
and
big too.
would have that up and down motion without a dorsal fin.
And it would look like a 55-gallon drum.
Yeah, it would.
Oh, dude, it looked like a 50-gallon drum blasting across this flat under the water. It was too shallow of water for us to try to chase it across, whatever it was, but scared the fuck out of everybody on the front of the boat, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I bet.
We never saw it again.
The Loch Ness Monster.
I had another cool story. This was actually before Nick and I even fished together. I had some friends out. We were shooting rays and didn't realize it, but where my transom bolts were was taking in some water. And no big deal. Just flip on the bilge pump now and again. You know what I mean? And it happened to be one of the nights where we killed like 70 rays. So they're all not just in the barrels. They're all over the floor. You know, the whole boat is filled with blood. The whole inside of the boat's filled with blood. And my bilge pump stops working. And we're, you know, a 40-minute trip from shore to, or the boat ramp. So luckily I had another bilge pump. So we sit there and we're just floating around in this spot for about 15 minutes while I wire in the new bilge pump. We turn it on. Well, now we got about 15 minutes to pump the boat out. And we're just sitting there kind of floating. Everybody's getting a drink and just kind of chilling, making sure arrows are all good. And the second I fired up the lights, everyone on the top deck just like moved and huddled to the middle. It was like, what the fuck? There was a shark just swimming around my boat in the middle of the night as I'm just pumping this fucking bloody water out.
Oh, dude.
And who knows how long it was right there next to us and under us, because, you know, we're just kind of just chilling, just hanging out on the boat, you know, and it wasn't until we fired up the light that they saw it turn, and then it literally just swam right under the boat and worked its way out of the lights.
That's intense, man.
Glad I didn't wash my hands off the side, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no shit, man. Holy hell.
Oh, man.
That's wild.
Bad time for a cannonball.
God, man. It's crazy. That's messed up. Well, we're getting a little closer to time, but we can go as long as you guys want. But I didn't know if you guys wanted to talk about something very interesting that you've been kind of throwing it out there on Instagram. You've been kind of putting it out on social media. Chuck, you know what I'm getting at here.
It seems like you're talking about the giveaway
It seems like I'm talking about the giveaway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What's
up with that?
Working in the book.
Yeah.
Man.
What's the details there? What's going on with that giveaway?
So we're gonna do a giveaway. It's for a group of 4 or 5. I mean, I'm not gonna be stingy on it. I don't work like that. 4 or 5, and we got a lot of our sponsors or, you know, close friends. They're gonna donate some stuff. Outdoor Dreaming is donating a bunch of clothes, a hoodie, a hat, stickers.
Nice.
And he's just a cool dude. And Phantom's gonna donate a bunch of tips. I'm working with Power Max. I don't know if they're gonna do anything, but
Probably Gator Grip.
Gator Grip will be involved. I guarantee it. We're just gonna go out and have a blast, man. We're gonna go out and have a good time and just trying to get the name out there, you know, and
We want to give someone working class the experience that we're trying to provide. So I'm not sure which day that this is coming out there in podcast land, but you have until January 31st to enter. If you go to my page at The Modern Assassin, you can see the post and look there or kind of be redirected over to Nick at Working Class Outdoorsmen. You'll see the picture right there on the post and it says giveaway. Just follow the rules. It's pretty simple, nothing elaborate. Tag a couple friends. And, yeah, like I said, we're going to get hopefully someone working class out to experience this, world class operation that, you know, the best way I could put it is Nick and I have spent the hours and the money and the aggravation.
lots of notebooks full of notes.
Yeah.
I have every tide for every day I fished in the last 2 years and how many fish I killed.
That's
in
serious,
every
man.
location.
It's
That's
work.
dedication.
That's why we
work.
consistently kill fish. Like,
Exactly.
I can call Garrett and be like, dude, we got to hit this flat tonight because last year it was the same tide, same everything. It's going to be banging. And we go and we kill it. That's everything in my book is within 1 or 2 to 3 days of one another. It all happens generally every year within 3 days of my information on the book.
And you only know that by keeping records.
Right.
And
Definitely.
It's by putting the hours in. It's by keeping the records. It's by going out when you're tired. It's by going out when it may not be the most optimal conditions that you learn all this. And it's by putting in this work. And like I said, even the aggravation, the money and the broken equipment and everything else, that we're now confident that we can provide the parts of bow fishing that people enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, one of the things you asked about, and we kind of got off topic with it just because of how awesome the snakeheads are, is the different species.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're shooting catfish, especially blue catfish now, football size goldfish, gar, carp, of course. You know, mud marlins is
my thing.
Nick is dubbed them.
Mud marlins.
The crazy thing is and
many
what
as you
makes it
can.
really cool is we shoot all these fish on different tides, and it's just at different times. So like our snakeheads, I'm not going to throw it out there, but we shoot our snakeheads when everybody thinks you can't kill them. And we shoot our carp on a low tide.
Depending on the year.
And
it changes.
It changes.
It's not the same. You got to change your strategy to the fish. There's different times of year that different fish are better to go after. There's different times of the night or the tide. And sometimes you get the overlap. Sometimes you see a little mix of everything, but usually we are targeting. Yeah, we are targeting a species for a reason. But yeah, so that's the point of the giveaway. Speaking of Gator Grip too, we're actually going to do a giveaway with them every month, which will be awesome for any listeners. Gator Grip HD, I believe, is their new page. But yeah, man, we just want to get someone out to experience and kind of give back, because it's our followers, the people that have given us support through what we've done and through the work of this, that we now have the sponsors or the backers that want to support us and give back too. So we just kind of collaborated together to give this giveaway, and appreciate you all bringing it up and sharing it with the listeners of your podcast. This is the kind of people that we want to get it out to and hope someone wins it.
Another cool thing is if veterans and working class people in the fire department, the police department, I'm going to give them guys a hefty discount, because
we'll help on the hotel accommodations.
Yeah, for Wounded Warriors, veterans, police officers, firefighters, I will get the hotel for them guys if they book more than one night.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, man.
And they're going to get a hefty discount too. Just my dad was a firefighter, and for 34 years, I think.
It's because of those men and women
we get to
that we can do what we do. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't get to spend our nights fucking off on the boat, figuring out what works and what doesn't, to then provide this to other people. So if we can give back, we don't just say it, we give it back.
Yeah.
So 100% appreciative.
Couldn't agree more, man. That's awesome. That's so generous. You guys are you're both good dudes. I know you guys are. But we typically like to ask you guys what your favorite hunting story is, but I want to hear from both of you guys what your favorite bow fishing story is.
We went through quite a few.
That's a good one. Oh no.
They told us a few stories, but I don't know if it was their favorite.
That's a good point.
I got a good story.
Hit me with it. Garrett can think about it.
Uh-oh. It's nothing like super crazy, but it was cool. We were shooting in this back of this mud flat, 30 miles from the boat ramp, and we're shooting the hell out of carp. And Garrett loses an arrow in a carp's head, right? And this arrow, we couldn't catch this fish. Like, we tried for like 20 minutes and we just couldn't get up to it. So we just abandoned it, went on with our night and killing a bunch of fish. 2 days later, I come back to this cove because I had a right tide and I wanted to shoot snakehead. And I go in there and I see this arrow flickering in the water. I'm like,
no,
that's Garrett's fish. And we went over and we shot this fish, and it was a giant carp. Like, it was a 30 plus pound carp that broke his arrow off, and the son of a bitch was still alive. Kicking 2 days later. And it just looked like it had so much grass on the arrow. I mean, I don't even know how it was swimming.
Yeah, it was like a fucking narwhal swimming around with a face full of weeds. It was a fat son bitch too. It was as big as a narwhal.
Yeah. It was pretty crazy. And then of course the grass carp, that was a pretty good one.
Yeah. And I guess this isn't a crazy story, but one thing people may not realize is these snakeheads, being a competitive predatory fish, it's no different than a big buck as far as locations. Like, I've always put the best buck beds as like in the relationship of a neighborhood. Like, if money was no object, right? The most badass motherfucker is always going to live in that big mansion on top of all the hills, or on the hill with all the bitches. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And it's the same with a buck. The biggest, most badass buck is always going to have the best, safest bed, that mansion on the hill, and he's going to be around all the ladies. You know, he's going to have the best area. And it's the same with these snakeheads and the way they hunt. When we take a good one out of an area, we can assure you that there will be another good one in that area. And
guaranteed.
They're very, very hard-headed. one of the things that we've had help us a lot is switching over to the phantom tips.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because we were having arrows skip off of their skulls.
What?
I mean, and not uncommonly. Switching to the phantom tips helped that a lot, but there was this big fish, I believe he ended up being 8.5 or 9 pounds, that we saw and scarred an arrow right down the side of his head. And you see him swim off because of that big scar. And we went back and we saw him again in that same area. Didn't get a shot. He was kind of spooked to the boat. And then it was a few nights later, we went back and we found that same fish with the scar down his head, little bit further up the creek, just because it had been a much warmer day. And we think he was probably going toward the cooler water, but in that same general area. Like I said, you can pull one off the point of a flat
Every night.
and they, the next ones will take that spot, because just like a buck, the next one is going to fill the void.
Good betting is good betting, man.
Wow.
Exactly.
I never associated that with fish before. That's
crazy
amazing.
because
People
don't
think
realize
because they're so highly predatory.
Right.
people don't realize 90% of fish live in 10% of the water too. You can go a mile on a flat that just looks amazing and not see a snakehead. And then all of a sudden you'll come to this spot and you're like, yeah, this looks real good. And it's got 30 or 40 fish on it every night. You can go back there and kill that many fish every night.
And it's different vegetation.
Yeah,
For
vegetation's
different
a big
times
thing.
of the year, different vegetations on different tide. Like we'll be going across a flat and we may get to a particular type of grass and we're like, fuck this. And he'll just drop the big motor and start blowing across it. And then we're like, oh shit, slow down. And when we start to get to a different type of vegetation, and then we'll start killing them again. It's funny. Like we think carp and catfish, that's like, it's almost like going out and shooting squirrels and rabbits.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
you have to know where they are, but you can kind of stumble into them at the same time. But if you're going to limit out, you got to have an idea and a plan, whatever. But you can just kind of go bumble around and find them, But the snakeheads are like killing deer, like killing a buck. You got to have them figured out. They're not.
They're not everywhere.
It's much more difficult, especially to put up the numbers day after day.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess I can associate that with our stream fishing, small stream or creek fishing. Maybe if you're trout fishing or
And
something, you find that
and
one
the cat-
hole and they're just all loaded up in there.
The catfish is crazy too, because this is the first year we've ever shot blue cats up here. And it was crazy because I called Garrett one night. I'm like, dude, check this fucking fish out. It was like a 44-pound blue. And he's like, where'd you shoot that? I'm like, on the fucking river. He's like, no, you didn't. I said, hell, I didn't. And like a week later, dude, it blew up. Like we were seeing thousands of 20-pound blue cats every night.
Over 200 to 250 in the boat a night.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's insane. I was looking on your page and I was seeing a lot of blue cats and I'm like, man, they are crushing blue cats and
You happen
snakehead
to
and
see
carp.
the all white one.
Was it the real?
Our boy Snake Snatcher Sean shot a catfish. We actually did see another one, which is kind of even crazier. And I don't know how many arrows we threw at that motherfucker and he lived. But Sean, he killed this white cat that is like pearlescent. Like it shines with the rainbow. It's a once in a lifetime fish. It was pretty badass.
Don't make them feel any better. They missed it like 6 times too. I did 3 circles around that fish, but I was on such a big flat it had nowhere to go.
Oh man,
There it is.
I was
it.
on my big motor chasing it down.
That's intense, man.
Dude, that thing's almost like translucent. It's insane.
Yeah, exactly. That was the best way for me to describe it, like a translucent white blue cat.
That night cost me a prop too.
Oh, man.
Worth it.
Worth
Yeah,
it.
Worth it. Yeah, my man. Cheers to that. Worth it.
Went from a 4-blade to a 2-blade.
Hey, 2 blades, that just means you're cutting through the water quicker, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, just put it in limp mode.
yeah. We did that once, all the way across the bay one night. Limp mode. That was a long.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
That's awesome, dude.
I get myself in a lot of dumb situations. I like to go upriver. Garrett does not like to go upriver. He has a funny story to tell about up there where he almost sunk his boat.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, like I said,
But I love it.
you have to know it. I actually, there's part of the river that is what you would call, I guess, the bottom of upriver.
Yeah.
It's like right where the rocks start. And it's a island that some friends of mine lease. And we camp out there, and we usually spend holidays out there camping and fishing and everything. And every holiday, we're towing boats back to the boat ramp because it's the Susquehanna River, and there's a lot of rocks that are 4 inches under the water. And yeah, it looks like big open water. Mm-hmm. Nah, it's a minefield out there.
Them rocks are as big as your house.
Oh yeah. And I mean, every year we end up having to tow boats in. So I took my boat up there years ago, and they started releasing more water from the dam, and it got to where my trolling motor couldn't keep up. And, so I was trying to gracefully guide my boat back down river, and I didn't even hit this rock enough to fuck up the paint. It barely rubbed the side of my boat, but when it caught the weld at the transom, it peeled the back of my boat like a tin can, just like a 2-inch hole.
Ooh. And he still got a mile and a half to the boat ramp.
Oh, yeah.
Balls out, man.
I flipped on my bilge pump.
And you can't get on plane. There's no getting on plane and pulling the drain plug and surviving. You're either going down or
at mercy of the river. Yeah. You better just keep facing the right way so you don't, get spun sideways and hit something, and then you're in real trouble.
Oh, no.
And
shit.
I flipped on the bilge pump, and I can hear it running, and no water's pumping out. I'm like, well, I'm good. Whatever. I couldn't get the boat on the trailer. And when I finally did and got that sunbedge out, well, it was probably because I had about 140 gallons of water in it. And the reason my bilge pump wasn't pumping water, it was coming on, but it had a small stone in the propeller, so it wasn't pumping water out.
Oh, no.
So again,
them little things will get you killed.
And that's exactly after that's when I started carrying that spare bilge pump on the boat.
Yeah.
And checking, and that, it drew a shark in, but we all survived, but
Yeah.
This is my point. It's like,
Garrett used to make fun of me for having a 3,000 gallon per minute bilge pump on a 16-foot boat, but now he knows why.
Yeah, no shit.
We've done enough to where we know how to do it right, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And to the point where
upriver's an animal.
Yeah, it is. And again,
I love it.
There's not very many people that I trust except for, Nick up there and my one buddy Ryan. I know that when we're going up in there in them nasty holes to rockfish and everything, he knows how to navigate through for the most part. But
we'll put
I had to
it
fix
this way.
his boat plenty of times too.
It's jet boat territory only normally.
Yeah.
I mean,
No shit.
if they're only running 5,000, a jet boat can't get upriver. I'll put it to you that way. And I do it every night.
That's intense, dude.
Going upriver is fun. It's not scary. Coming downriver, you can't stop a 6,000 pound boat instantly to miss the rock. You're hitting it.
Yeah.
You better know where you're going.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah,
Definitely.
And when we're bow fishing, we'll bounce off rocks all night, like literally.
So, have you guys been bow fishing?
Yeah.
I've been bow fishing in the sense of having a shitty bow with a shitty bow fishing reel, wading through the water shooting carp.
It's
basically.
awesome, isn't it?
It's so much fun doing that, but that's about the extent of my bow fishing.
Yeah, I've never been out ever.
That's the point. It's so much fun, and it's at a level that anyone can do it because again, we're gonna put you on the fish. You're gonna have opportunity.
Yeah.
But if you enjoy fishing and you enjoy hunting, there's nothing cooler than bow fishing. There's so many aspects of it that, I mean, we see deer beside the water all the time. We've seen coyotes, fox. We see all kinds of different
beavers,
ducks.
turtles.
Yeah, the fish that we can't shoot. We see giant bass all over the place. Like we said, we saw a sea monster.
A sea monster.
You never know what's going to be in the water. It's a lot of cool shit. Like getting to watch these animals at night, what they do. Like it is, and it's kind of funny. I always explain it to people it's almost like your own little personal fishbowl.
Yeah.
Because everything is pitch black. And then your lighted area, you can clearly see everything. but then you can't really, you almost forget the rest of the world is there besides what's in your fishbowl. Like all the time, I'll stop and I'll ask people, where did we come from? Which direction do we need to go?
They don't have a clue.
No one ever has a clue because you're living in your little fishbowl for a while. It's almost like that's the only area that exists for a while. It's a blast. You guys for real, for sure got to come down.
Dude, don't threaten us with a good time, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, you just got to bring something better in Bush Light. That's all I ask.
I got you, man. Whatever you want, I'll bring it.
Natty Bow.
No, that's awesome. And you know what? I'm going to leave it at that. The only way people are going to find out more is if they book with you or they win this freaking trip, man.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick. What about your bookings? What are they looking like for 2020?
They're booking. We don't.
We're booking quick.
Yeah, we don't have many weekends left from September to November. It's pretty much locked.
That's awesome.
We got some weekday trips, and when we say world class, it's been world class because I only have one person from Maryland booked this year. The rest are from out of state, all the way from Texas to Oklahoma.
That's
killer.
And they're all doing 2 to 3 day trips. It's gonna be badass, man. We got some cool people coming aboard, like Garrett said. Hopefully, Tim Wells and Clint Wells. They both seem really cool. Clint's a pretty cool dude.
Man, I've been a major fan of Tim Wells forever. He's actually one of the people that kind of influenced not being completely influenced by sponsors and everything.
Real raw, no bullshit.
Raw, real, no bullshit. That's right.
That's the modern assassin credo, man.
Right. We may have, I met Kip Campbell. He's talking about coming up.
Oh,
nice.
Trent Cole with Blitz TV. Did he actually book yet? I think.
No, he's going to.
Just a lot of really cool people, that see, we can provide the best of the experience of what bow fishing is. And the fact that we got the licensing and we can share it with other people. That's my big passion in everything I do, I guess. Now, I haven't really thought about like this, but you think about how much filming I do, how much the photography, the writing, and everything else. It's all my way of conveying the experiences I love and trying to get other people to maybe find even a small piece of the excitement and the enjoyment that I get out of it. So, I mean, I really do. When someone gets to shoot their first deer or a fish aboard the boat, I mean, I'm usually fucking more jacked than they are. That I got to give that experience firsthand. So the fact that, not only can we provide that now, but a lot of people are recognizing what we do and what we can provide. It's pretty humbling, and, we're going to head full force into it. But for the bookings we do have left, ain't a lot. But obviously, again, for the entry and for any bookings, hit up at Working Class Outdoorsmen on Instagram. Talk to Nick directly. He and I are always in contact. We got the books and making sure we got people in the proper time and the proper tide. There's a couple weekends that the tides are so off and so bad. Yep. We're probably not going to book anyone. Because,
it's a good call.
I mean, sure,
we can go out and kill fish, but it's not going to be that world-class experience that we want to have.
Exactly. It's not going to be what we want to provide you. And we don't want to, give anyone a false representation or feel like we're taking anyone's money. Now, of course, you got to remember, it's fishing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Same as hunting. You can't, it's never guaranteed, but if we ain't killing fish, there ain't fish anywhere to be killed that night.
Yeah.
Put that sense.
And I'm not going to take your money.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you can book us for those bad tides.
A 4-hour trip most of the time turns into an all-night trip with me and Garrett on board.
Yeah.
Unless he's hungry. And then, then we're going back to the docks. But if it was left to me, we'd be out all night most nights.
What are you saying? If you book, bring food.
Yeah, if you book the trip, bring food because it's going to probably most likely go past the whatever time we tell you it's going to end. Yeah, and I got to give Garrett mad props because my uncle really is the baddest motherfucker that I've ever met. And
100%.
He's 77 this year? Or 79?
I think he's 76 right now.
77 this year, and this boat or this dream wouldn't be happening without him and Garrett and myself, but Garrett mostly does everything with him. They hunt together every day. They became pretty pretty good friends over the years, I'd say.
That's
I honestly,
Louis
I didn't know he wasn't your uncle.
Yeah, he's not even my real uncle.
None of this, like, what he's saying, none of this would have come together if it wasn't for Louis helping front and push it along to make the dream happen. And like I said, I didn't even know it wasn't Nick's uncle for several years. But he's a great dude. I tell you what, I got to get him on the podcast for some of his hunting stories.
Yeah, he hangs with the best. He will shoot fish every night, all night, every night.
That's
and he goes
awesome.
home and he won't walk all the next day because his leg's so swelled up. But guess what?
Right.
7:30 rolls around, he's back at the boat ramp to go fishing.
Worth it.
Beautiful, worth it.
Worth it.
The biggest church man you'll ever meet. The guy just does so much for so many people, and he has one kid of his own, and then he has raised like 3 or 4 other people. He's just a great dude.
That's
awesome.
amazing,
Mountain
man.
And he was a firefighter with my father. I known him since I was a little kid, and that's why I call him my uncle. When my dad quit hunting, I continued to hunt with Louis. And Louis moved to West Virginia, and I would go down to hunt with Louis in West Virginia. I would think I shot my first deer off of his deck in West Virginia.
Sounds like
I
West
shot like
Virginia.
4 deer that night.
Ding, 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 ding.
Well, that is a good natural swing of this of our podcast to, while we have Garrett on, I know we talked about mostly what you guys got going on as the Working Class Outdoorsmen, but, it'd be a sin if we didn't prelude another episode to bring Garrett on again and talk about his new podcast he just started, Kills It Podcast. That you got 6 episodes out. They're badass. The best part I think about your podcast, man, is that you can go on YouTube and watch, and you have clips built in, and just everything that we've talked about would be badass to do. You're doing it, and it's amazing. Yeah,
I appreciate that, man.
Hell yeah, dude.
I'm a fan of your guys' podcast. And I don't know if I've actually said this to you guys or said this on a podcast, but your guys' intro is one of the most professional and I fucking love it. Your guys' intro is dope as fuck. For real. I don't know who did it, who produced it, but that shit's legit. I love it.
Dude, you can thank Bush Light for that intro, because there was a lot of it flowing.
Dude, for real. I dig that a lot. And I've listened to a lot of your guys' episodes, and, a lot of your guests are mutual friends and everything. And I mean, you guys have done podcasts with me, and you've done this one. And, before the podcast, I even warned you, hey, if you need to bring me back to a topic, don't be afraid to hit the brakes and reel me back in, because I don't know where I'm going to go.
No, I love letting you freaking flow, dude.
Yeah. Let it roll.
That's just kind of what I do, and that's kind of what the Kills It platform is I just want to talk to men and women that kill it at their craft and, see where it goes, it's basically like if we were to meet at the bar, I see you got a camo hat on, whatever. You got a Working Class Outdoorsman shirt, so you're a bad motherfucker, obviously.
Yeah.
But roll up and we start talking about hunting or fishing, you know what I mean? Within a few minutes, sure, that's our common connection. But as we're talking, we're gonna, hey, what do you do for work? Oh, no shit, blah, blah, blah. Oh, you traveled there, but you never know where the conversation's going to go. So that's just kind of how I want my podcast platform to be.
Yeah, man.
I love that.
And even better than that, you came up with an idea for a camera arm out of a saddle that works better than anything out there. By far,
in the power plant this year.
Are you really?
I'm going to build a tower,
dude. You have to.
Yeah, we think we're going to build a film tower to just try to get even better content and footage used in the reach.
Awesome.
We should have had so many badass footage this year, and we needed to slow down, and we didn't. We just kept pushing and pushing, but we could have had the best content that anybody's ever seen.
That's killer.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. The Reach camera arm, we've shouted it out here before. I have one. I've never seen anything like it. It makes mobile hunting and mobile recording actually doable for me, which nothing else has.
100%. I can attest to it, too. I mean, I used it filming Charles on a couple hunts this year, and just being in the saddle and using it, being able to swing that thing under your bridge. It's not happening with a normal camera arm. You throw that reach on the tree, it's everything's possible.
But dude, the packability, that's what gets me. You know, I put that thing in my side pocket on my backpack and I go. And it doesn't weigh me down. It doesn't take up a ton of room in my backpack. That was my problem with the old arms and the big, bulky, just whatever they use to strap it to the tree. You know, the base was huge on everything else, and I couldn't stand it. So I just didn't bring the camera. You know, I spent all this money on a camera, and I was like, well, what am I supposed to do with it? I don't want to bring this shit in the woods and add 15 pounds to my pack every time I go out. So, I mean, you're weighing in at 3 pounds on that thing, and it's just amazing. We need to get in depth on it. I know you got a ton going on, Garrett, and I know that, I'm guessing by the time we bring you back on, there's going to be like, I don't know, a dozen more things probably out there.
Oh yeah, there's more shit in the works for sure. You know that, but I really appreciate that, dude. And, you know, everything. I think you touched on just about every point of why I created the Reach. You know, most of them were either they were too heavy or they just took up. If it wasn't heavy, it was too bulky, or the setup, it just didn't have a versatility to it. You know, there was just so many different aspects that, you know, that's why a lot of people give up self-filming is the equipment, the amount it takes to carry in, the amount it takes to set up, and then to have something that actually gives you decent quality. It's hard. Yeah, it was difficult. So, you know, I appreciate it. I spent a lot of time on it. I'm glad you guys got to put it to use. And yeah, I think you touched on about everything. And,
yeah, man.
Dude, I can't wait to, it's been a while since I was on with you guys. It was actually before the Reach came out that I was last on here.
That's right.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
I'm definitely game to jump back on and do it again.
Awesome, man.
I think we need to, man. They're always fun episodes too. They're always a good time. And you know what? I think we were worried about Nick, but I'll be honest. I think Nick held his own on this episode. He did. We broke the cherry, but
He
man,
did.
A little bit.
You did good. You were gentle popping that podcast chair.
yeah, man.
I like it.
We're,
I like
we're
it.
kind.
Once I get comfortable, I'm good. But I'm not gonna lie, I was prancing around the living room and everything. Garrett,
Well, like,
come in,
drink a beer. Chill out.
You know, you put me on that boat, I'm in my element. But the shit that Garrett does, man, it's funny. I got a really good.
Uh-oh.
Oh, here we go.
Man.
Oh, I know what it is.
Yeah. So Fish Hunt Maryland is somebody that I work with, and they're a great group, and they promote guides and outfitters in Maryland and just do all the hunting and fishing side that Maryland has to offer. But anyway, so they hit us up. This guy, Don Golf, hit us up. He's like, hey, man, I'm taking Fish Hunt Maryland out on a yacht trip, and we're going to fish during the day. They want to boat fish in the evening. I'm like, all right. So it was like 7 or 8 people or something. And I'm like, well, we're going to have to use Garrett's boat because I could only shoot 4 on my boat at the time because it was a deep V. So she got wobbly. You know, you put 5 people in there, it was like a tanker ship just going side to side.
Yeah.
It was sketchy some nights. But anyway, so I got it lined up with Garrett, and I didn't tell him any of the details, you know, but he had to do an interview, and I volunteered Garrett to do the interview. And you know how Garrett is. He's real raw, no bullshit. He's going to cuss. He's going to say what the fuck he wants to say. Well,
Oh, yeah.
They hand him a fucking piece of paper, and they say, you got to follow the script. And he looked at me. He looked at me like he wanted to kill me that night. And I was just sitting there laughing my ass off. I sat back by the truck and just watched him do his little video promo for the Fish Hunt Maryland website.
I had no clue what they were talking about. I mean, they're doing that. Well, it started off they didn't catch any fish in the kayak part.
Yeah.
So they hit us up and they're like, look, we had this big thing set up with Hunt Fish Maryland and DNR to get snakeheads, and we're at a last resort. Can you guys help us find snakeheads? And they're like, we think so. We ain't ever been after them this time of year, but you know, and they wanted to go out to a specific spot. We said, well, do you want to go for a boat ride or kill snakeheads? Because if we go there, we're going for a boat ride. If you want to kill snakeheads, you're coming to where we tell you. And yeah, I'm sitting there watching them film and do their thing and, you know, filming for their promo and commercial. And I'm just, you know, sitting on my boat waiting for them to do their thing. And she comes down and she looks at me and she's like, okay, so they're going to walk down the dock. The cameraman's going to follow them. They're going to come up. They're going to say their part, and then you're going to read your lines.
All I had to do was help him on the boat. I had it all figured out.
And I was like, read my lines? She's like, yeah, from the script. And I looked at Nick. He's like, yeah, I told him you do all the talking. And he patted me on the shoulder and walked away. I was like, this motherfucker.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So I straight told her, no, for real. I was like, look, if you want me to say some shit, I'll say some shit, but I'm not reading a script. And she literally looked at me and was like, okay, but can you not say shit? I'm like, yeah, I could do that. I got this. But he got me good. He didn't tell me anything about what was going on, that they were filming.
He wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have done it.
He told me it was more for DNR, and I'm like, you know what? I'm all about helping out DNR. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yep. Sneaky son bitch. I'll get you back with something.
One day he'll get me back. But yeah, so it was. I don't know, man. I have a hard time talking.
Needless to say, we have fun.
Yeah,
that's right.
We got the safety thing figured out. We got the equipment thing figured out. We like to have fun, and we think anybody that comes with us is going to have a safe, fun trip.
Yeah, and going back to what we talked about before, you wanted to explain a trip. I mean, me and Garrett have talked, and you get a lot of guides that I've seen and heard of and talked about. There's some in Maryland particularly that do things the wrong way and don't treat their clients the way they should. And, we're going to start it out. We're going to get on the boat. We're going to have a little safety meeting kind of thing. And we might even make a little soundtrack, and it's going to be Garrett in the front of the boat like one of the airplane people.
I've had this idea.
Yeah.
You know how when you get on the airplane, the stewardess sits there and shows you
like
what
light jacket.
Yeah.
I'm going to make some silly, dumb shit for it. You just wait.
Yeah, it's going to be funny. But so we talked about it, and nobody really takes their people out and lets them shoot at something under the water. So we're going to build a target, and we're going to take you out half hour before we even start to shoot. We're going to let you shoot an underwater target. That's where the fish are going to be for that night that we think. And that's why we kill a lot of fish. I mean,
that's a good idea.
I had a lot of people on board this year that never even shot a bow or never even thought about bow fishing. And we killed numbers.
They're the best shooters.
They're easy to teach.
Believe it or not, the best shooters are those who have never shot a bow.
Really?
And that's because they are the easiest for us to train. If you've ever shot a recurve, you are used to drawing that bow back and hitting what you are looking at.
Right.
And that's not how bow fishing works, because that fish is not where you see it.
Yeah.
With the refraction of water, so it's very hard to take a person that is trained instinctively and learned how to look at a target and hit it. You know, you tell someone that never shot, aim lower on the next one.
They're going to do it.
That's just how they do it, and they've now trained their brain to that. So it's kind of funny that, people that have never shot a bow should not be discouraged. We will teach you how to do it. We'll teach you how to do it safely. We'll give you the right equipment. We can set the equipment up for you. And like I said, they're usually the best shooters. So we don't want anyone to shy away.
We're going to put you in front of a lot of fish.
Oh, yeah.
Guaranteed. I guarantee it. I may have had 5 nights all this year that we didn't kill a lot of fish. Like we just had shitty nights. And that's going to happen because our river is so dependent on Pennsylvania and New York. If you guys have bad weather in a week, we're screwed for a week. We got to go find something else. And that's what really drove me this year, knowing I was going to do this, to be a guide. I went every night and tried something different. So I knew I had a backup plan. I went all the way to the Eastern Shore side. I shot creeks when the river was chocolate milk, but I was shooting crystal clear water, and nobody else was bow fishing with me. I will go out if the wind's blowing 25 miles an hour because I know where I can go, and I got the boat that'll get me there.
That's a beautiful thing.
There's not many nights that we're not going to go.
Yeah.
Because we figured it out that well this year.
So Austin stepped out for a second. He had a pee break, but they were talking about how, when they go into it, they actually put a target under the water and they practice beforehand, which I think is absolutely
that's so decent.
Freaking genius, man.
Because you already got the confidence of the archer at that point. If they know they can hit that target, they know they're going to hit a fish. So they're not going to get so upset right away. A lot of people get frustrated.
And bottom line is, people are always skeptical of guides because everybody's heard a bad guide story. They just want your money. They take you out. They just kind of put the boat around, and whether it be fishing, duck hunting, whatever, everyone's heard a bad story of a guide service where they felt like they got taken. And we want you to experience it. We've got people to love and experience this before we were a guide service. We just, found out that we have a knack for it. So we're we're going to make it something lucrative for us. We kind of be silly not to.
Absolutely.
But we want you to have the experience. We are going to take the time to teach you. We are going to, if we got to switch up bows because we notice something in your shooting style or the way you use or don't use a reel properly or improperly, we're going to switch it. You know, that's part of my job is while Nick captain in the boat, I'm taking the individual care of the individuals because we want anyone that comes aboard, we hope they come back. I mean,
absolutely.
Bottom line, we're hoping you have that experience of a lifetime that Nick had that went from he missed 98 fish and killed one
That was 6 inches long.
to then having the most badass boat on the East Coast.
That is
And
killer, man.
This literally happened all in 3 years, too.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
That's
All in
awesome,
3
man.
years.
That's awesome.
But,
It just proves it, man. You put enough time and effort into something that you love, and you know you can really get it done. And it's funny because I've compared everything you've said pretty much to hunting at this point because that's what I can relate to, and probably a lot of these
We
people
are
listening.
hunting fish, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
are.
absolutely. And you have to have that obsessive, almost just, it's got to be inside of you. You know what I mean? You have to be addicted to it in a way. Sometimes it's unhealthy, but that's the drive you
unhealthy.
need.
Relationships later.
I was going to say, Nick's lost a couple relationships. My one buddy lost 2 jobs in one summer because of killing rays.
Let me say it again. Worth it.
Cheers too, homie.
I've probably been almost fired from the railroad at least a dozen times.
Oh.
And, you know, I have a great job on the railroad, but
Yeah.
my
But I can
boss
appreciate
is a
that, man.
badass dude.
That's how I am. That's how I get. You know, that's why we do this, to get some of that
Working
itch,
class.
you know?
Yep.
That's what we can appreciate.
Better
That's why we
believe it,
love you
man.
boys, and that's why we had to have you on.
I
You
thank you guys for real, and
Yeah, dude.
for real, let's get back on and do another episode. You know,
Hell yeah,
you know,
man.
I can always talk some more.
Dude, you're always welcome whenever you want to come on. But
Yeah,
You know-
for real, we'll set something up soon.
absolutely, man. We covered some cool ass topics tonight. I mean, you guys
Great
got a
stories.
great stories. You guys got a great business going on. Tell everybody where they can find you, both of you guys.
Working Class Outdoorsmen on Instagram.
All right.
Working on a Facebook page now. I'm not a big Facebook fan. Like, I've never even been a fan of social media, period. Working Class Outdoorsmen started, a year ago? Yeah, maybe a little over a year ago.
Well, yeah, as far as the bow fishing, I mean, a lot of people don't know. It's Nick.
I
and
was
his-
a big deer hunter.
Yeah.
I killed a lot of massive deer, and bow fishing ruined everything.
and he used to, you know, fish tournaments and used to be into goose calling competitions. So him and another guy from the railroad had gone by the Working Class Outdoorsmen for their, you know, their fishing team and just the deer hunting stuff they shared and the goose calling competitions. But you know, everything got kind of revamped once this boat got built, and
Yeah, I've
now
only
it's
killed
pretty
2
much
deer this year, and
all
I
the
don't
bow fishing.
know what I killed last year. to be honest.
I
But
actually meant to.
I went from a guy
Yeah.
that shot 20 plus deer a year.
Yeah, I
And
meant
I
to
had
ask
good
that,
farms.
dude. And
I
I just
had good farms.
Yeah, I
but
didn't want to interrupt, but I was like meaning to know if you did anything else because it seems like this took
I've
over
done
your
it all.
life.
I've done it all. I'm not to an extent that Garrett does it anymore, because Garrett just takes shit to the next level. Everything
Yeah.
he fucking does. But
You
I
literally-
never been into the filming thing, and Garrett kind of got me into that a little bit this year. And like we said earlier, we should have had a lot more stuff. But a lot of the footage that you've seen on Instagram is literally from my fucking cell phone.
That's killer,
That's
dude.
insane.
No joke. Garrett's got a lot of good footage that we still got to go through, and I got a lot of good friends that do some badass video audits, and yeah, it's been cool. But I got into the videoing this year a little bit. I really get enjoyment out of that, and it's like when you were talking about giving this to somebody else to do. Me and Garrett will look at a fish and be like, "Nah, you shoot it. Nah, you shoot it." You shoot it.
And then the fucker swims away.
And I can't tell you how many times we do that a night. I'm dead serious. We'll just look at each other. You want it? Now you shoot it.
Let me get my phone out.
Yeah,
You
let
shoot
me
it.
get my
Then
phone
it
out real
comes
quick.
away.
Yeah. It's just, that's the fun of it, man.
That is freaking awesome, and I can't wait to come see you guys.
Yeah, well, you need to talk to Garrett. He's got the calendar.
Well, yeah.
Get your stuff booked now because we're running out of days.
And like you said, to enter the giveaway or to book a trip, hit up at Working Class Outdoorsmen.
Make sure you do the gator gear.
Yeah,
giveaway
there's
too.
Gator Grip giveaway as well. And then anybody wants to look up my shit at the Modern Assassin. And then, as you mentioned before, and I appreciate, I've launched the Kills It podcast. I've got 6 episodes up, something a little different, something I'm having a lot of fun with, and gonna have to get you guys on that platform someday too.
Beautiful.
Oh boy. Well, let's
It'll
do
be
it,
fun.
man. Let's
cut
do it.
loose a little bit.
Better
Hell
have some stories.
Yeah, we got plenty of those, man.
That's right. All right, boys. Well, thank you again. I appreciate your time coming on and sharing everything with us and, giving us a little bit of information that I don't think we would have gotten anywhere else. So we definitely appreciate you boys.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, fellas.
Thanks for having us.
Kill some shit.